2 years ago, Victoria Police scrapped the dedicated cold case unit. These cases are now handled by the homicide squad, but that hasn't lessened the determination of detectives to solve these cases. Lisa Maksimovic looked into one of Victoria's most puzzling murder mysteries.
There's an old saying, an ounce of information is worth a tonne of investigation. We only need a small part of the jigsaw to put the whole pieces together.
Confirmation that the stains found on Thursday morning are human blood has heightened police fears for Sarah's life.
Well, it indicates that someone beside the car was fairly severely injured, at least, and we're assuming at this stage that it was Sarah MacDiarmid.
23-year-old Sarah MacDiarmid was last seen getting off a train at Cannonook Station on the 11th of July 1990.
If anyone's got Sarah, would they please just let her go and let us have her back?
20 years on, her parents, Sheila and Peter MacDiarmid, are no closer to knowing what happened.
We're both getting older, and I think that's a big fear, is the fact that because you're getting older, you're worried that anything will happen to you before you've even found out what happened to your daughter.
In 1996, a coronial inquest found that Sarah MacDiarmid had been murdered. Her body has never been found and no one has been charged. The mystery of her disappearance has tormented her family.
It took me 12 or 14 years, Sheila and I, to realise that you've suddenly looked at friends, and particularly friends, and they'd all of a sudden they seemed to be much older, and you realised you'd lost 10 or 12 years.
Yeah.
Without even realising it, just on a different plane of existence.
They're a remarkable family, considering that I would have no idea what they've gone through, and really no way of comprehending the 20 years that they've had to deal with this. But again, as you said, you're their point of contact. We're the investigators, and hopefully, we can gain some closure for them.
Homicide detective Jason Wallace has handled the MacDiarmid case for the past 4 years. He maintains a close relationship with the family.
Yeah, Peter. Jason Wallace, how are you?
Hi, Jason. How are you doing?
Yeah, good.
That's great. Look, it's nice to hear from you. It's good of you to call. There's ups and there's downs in any relationships, and you get very close to a lot of the detectives, and we, in the main, got on extremely well with them. There was times that we would say to them, but why don't you follow this up, or why don't you do this, or why don't you do that? Generally speaking, they were very good.
We are the one point in relation to the investigation, and they need that face, and particularly in this matter. I mean, it's 20 years old, and I guess it's satisfying to know that they have a face for you and that they can ring you at any time with their questions.
2 years ago, the specialised cold case task force was disbanded. The cases were absorbed into the roles of on-call homicide teams. How have you found that's changed the way unsolved murders are investigated?
If we accept and do things the same that we've done for 20 to 30 years, then we don't look at new ideas. No, I don't think it has changed. I think we're still as effective as we were 2 years ago at investigating unsolved homicides, and we probably look at more now than we did back then.
It's a case of you have your ongoing and your active jobs, and you have, as a homicide on-call crew, you're expected to respond to jobs that are occurring on a week-by-week basis, and in between that, we investigate this like any other file or any other job.
Cold cases are reviewed when new information comes to light, usually through members of the public. It's that one crucial phone call that police hope for.
If you're looking at an unsolved homicide that might have happened 10 years ago, where someone gave a particular person an alibi, that relationship may not exist now, and you go back and you speak to that person who actually provides valuable information. So time can actually work with you.
Of course, the passage of time also creates difficulties.
You sort of always that one level back in that you were never really there, and you can read about it, and you look at all the evidence we have, and it's very frustrating.
The challenge is to find all your witnesses that are involved. If you're looking at something that's 20, 25 years old, some witnesses sadly have passed on, some have moved overseas and we can't locate them, so that becomes a problem for us.
The MacDiarmid family last month launched a website, notalone.com.au. They hope it'll become a support network for families like theirs. But while they endeavour to help others, their own agonising wait for answers continues.
So I'd end up scratching her back. So that's my biting.
I don't think that there's any of our unsolved, 264 of them, that couldn't be solved by someone actually picking up the phone and ringing in.
Lisa Maksimovic with that report.